episode 20 of Things That Go Bump in the Night. I hope everyone's having a good week. Once again, joined by my co-host Chris. How you doing, dude? How's your week?
Do you know, it's been all right. I took some time off, a couple of days off.
Yeah.
I spent 2 days clearing my 5-year-old's bedroom. That was fun.
Yeah, I bet that
Um,
was fun.
and today the weather was nice. It's just feels a bit happier seeing a bit of sun.
Yeah, it does. I know it's been so miserable, hasn't it? As of late,
Yeah,
and where
some
we're
yeah,
locked
it's
inside.
cold as well. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So a little bit of sun is quite nice. So yeah, quite good. And we're actually meant to be recording earlier in the week, but I couldn't make it.
I think we
Some
both missed
yeah,
each other several
I think that was
times.
it. Yeah, we just missed each other
We
because of
we
our
tried
schedule.
every day from last Monday, didn't
We
we?
literally did. We literally tried every day, and it just you either had something or I had something, yeah, and it weren't working out. But oddly, like through the week, news was a little bit
Yeah,
slow, and then all of a sudden, towards the end of the week, there was like a few things I started seeing pop up. So we've definitely got some things to talk about, which I'm very happy about, and we're gonna start with some sad news. Unfortunately, let's get this one out of the way. It's a TV show that me and you quite liked. It's called
yeah.
Truth Seekers. It was the Amazon show with Nick Frost and created with Simon Pegg. He was in it a little bit, but Amazon have unfortunately cancelled it, which
Yeah,
sucks,
I,
right?
I haven't seen anything that says why they've
No,
chosen
no.
to. Like, was it? I mean, how do they even measure ratings on a streaming service? I suppose they must know through login who's watching what. But it surprised me, really. It surprised me because they'd set it up to continue speculatively, but I thought that was a fair assumption. There's some big names in Britain, at least, associated with it,
Yeah.
and it's just gone. It sounds like from the Nick Frost did an announcement on Instagram. I've read it. I haven't watched it yet, but it sounds like he was as surprised as anyone else and very disappointed.
Yeah, I agree. I've looked at I haven't watched the video, but I've read the press statement that went out, and yeah, there is a quote from Nick Frost, and it does sound like this did come a little bit out of the blue. And again, you bringing up about Amazon, how do they measure it and stuff like that. I
Mm.
don't know if you ever saw it, but it was about a year ago or 2 years ago when Amazon really started competing with Netflix and like buying stuff up at film festivals and spending all this money. And the Hollywood Reporter, they do these roundtable discussions. They're up on YouTube. They're if you're interested in the film business, they're really interested. They do like producers, directors, actors, actresses, you name it, cinematographers. And there is one with studio executives. And it's a really, really interesting roundtable because it literally looks at, you got the guy that runs Netflix. I think it's a woman that runs Amazon, Kevin Feige from Marvel. I can't remember who else is on it. And the lady that runs Amazon says that their business model is completely different to anyone else's. Which I guess might have changed with this because they are canceling stuff.
Mm. Mm.
But she said they don't look at viewing figures. They're not really interested that much in viewing figures because to them, what you got to remember is Prime Video is just an offshoot of Prime. Like Prime is their main goal is to get you to sign up for Prime, which then covers your free delivery and
This is true.
discounts and stuff. Yeah, and it's
So
just
so in a way,
an
the
added
the
bonus.
delivery service or Amazon as a marketplace, I suppose. I mean, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but am I right in thinking they're seeing it as almost it's not unacceptable if it subsidizes it now and again.
Exactly. So now you are seeing them cancel stuff. I guess maybe the business model has changed a little bit, but yeah, I was shocked. I was really shocked. This
Because
got cancelled.
it wasn't perfect. I really enjoyed it though, and
Yeah, agree.
it's a niche show. It's not something that everyone was talking about, but everyone I did see talking about it seemed to enjoy it. So it's what I find quite odd. Um, the thing that worries me is that this was a very English,
Yeah,
British
yeah.
production, and I'm worried that things like that, regional things, are being squeezed out to have a more global American appeal.
Well, I'm kind of glad you said that because we are going to talk about someone else later on this podcast. A little bit of news has dropped. Mr. Edgar Wright,
Mm-hmm.
who we all know and love, and obviously was come up with Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, right?
Yes.
And they were making very British films. genre film,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
British genre films. And then Edgar Wright went away. He done Scott Pilgrim. I think he come back, done At World's End. He obviously done Baby Driver next. And now, which we'll get into in a little bit, he is going to do another American film. So it seems like we've almost lost this really great English filmmaker to Hollywood again. And now look, I
Yes.
get
Yeah.
it. Like, you can get much bigger budgets over there. The actors that you can tap into and stuff like is a lot more accessible in Hollywood. But I wonder if there is a little something in that as well, of that he does have these, like he's obviously next film that we spoke about last night in Soho is obviously English, set in Soho, but it does have quite a bit of American talent in it as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't feel as British as the other stuff. So I wonder if there is something in that. I wonder if it
Because
is getting hard.
Truth Seekers, you could imagine on, I don't know, BBC Three or Channel 4,
Oh yeah, yeah,
back in the old days.
yeah,
It's a very, British thing. And I wonder if something like, thank God they come up before, streaming happened. But I wonder if something like The League of Gentlemen would have ever made it in this new
yeah.
digital world.
Well, I wonder actually, you saying it, I wonder if there's a home for this with a BBC or a Channel
I
4.
hope so. I really hope
Yeah,
someone picks it up.
I do. Well, I think the problem may be that Amazon's biggest market is America,
Yeah.
just like Netflix or whoever. And you do see shows that do really well over here or do relatively well, but
Yeah.
they don't get the second season, or they don't get whatever season it is because they didn't really break America, as you say. That's where your biggest audience is. So I wonder if that's the case. This is just a little bit too English for that American audience on Amazon. Yeah, I don't know. I tell you what, I'd be interested in. I know there's quite a few people that listen to this podcast that are American, right? We've got a really nice American fan base. So I would be really interested to know if you watch this. If you did, what did you think of it? But if you didn't watch it, were you just not interested because it is a little bit too British? Maybe I wonder if like people could throw some stuff at us that might answer that question, because to me and you, we kind of enjoy it. It wasn't perfect like you said, but
Well,
I definitely would see a second season.
I mean, I do wonder. I wonder if it just wasn't understood over in America, because even like the news report on this, on Bloody Disgusting, says the very first thing, this past Halloween season, Amazon premiered the X-Files-esque paranormal investigation series Truth Seekers. It's not X-Files-esque at all. It's nothing like the X-Files.
No, I
and
completely agree.
and I
Yeah, that
think
threw me off when I read
it's
that.
trying to pigeonhole it to something it's not. And I just wondered, did they not get it over there? I don't know. Did they
Yeah,
not,
maybe.
get the humor and what it was trying to do? I mean, the only thing in common with X Files is the paranormal elements. Everything
Yeah.
else, you know, it's like Tom and Jerry and Chinatown. I don't know. It's just like two completely
Yeah, I
different
know
things.
what you mean. Yeah. I really would like to know what the driving force behind this was, because it obviously sounds like this wasn't creative. This wasn't Nick Frost or Simon Pegg or that being too busy. They wanted to do this.
Mm.
So was it budget? Did they want a little bit more money for second season and didn't really get it? Or
The
yeah, did Amazon just not see a benefit in it?
the problem is, have we ever seen a streaming service lose something to a terrestrial channel? I don't think we have.
No, I don't think we
We've
have. No,
seen
it's
things
normally the other way
cancelled on,
around.
yeah,
Yeah,
we've seen things cancelled and picked up, but I can't
yeah, it's
imagine.
normally the other way around.
I don't know, unless Netflix or something picks it up. I don't. It might be the end.
I mean, the other thing that confuses me about this a little bit is we've seen a lot with streaming services at the minute where you might have a show or a film that doesn't do particularly well. You don't really hear too much about it, or it's reviewed badly, but they actually keep the talent around because they want the talent under contract. And it
Mm,
does seem odd to me that you would have Nick Frost and Simon Pegg under some creative contract and just kind of get rid of them.
yeah,
Like they're big names,
you'd
and
think they were pretty bankable, wouldn't you? I mean,
you would think
it's
so,
got
yeah.
Malcolm McDowell in it, for Christ's sake.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, yeah, the cast is, yeah, it had Julian Barrett in as well.
Yeah,
But again, is that too English? Like, do people in America know who Julian Barrett is? Like, how popular
possibly
was the
not.
Mighty
Yeah,
Boosh
yeah.
in America? I know it was in America. I think it was on the BBC in America, but that is very niche.
I think you find the people who like that show were very kind of Anglophiles who really were into watching,
Yes.
um, English programs out there. But for your average person who makes up the vast majority of their viewing figures, probably not.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Mighty Boosh is something that most people over here didn't get.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. I mean, it really worked for me. I really liked it. But I get it. Yeah, it was definitely hit or miss to a lot of people. So maybe that's it. Maybe Truth Seekers was just too hit or miss, and they decided to cut their ties and put their money
Fingers
elsewhere.
crossed it goes somewhere else, but
I
I
really hope
suspect
so.
not. I suspect
Yeah,
not.
I really hope so. I would like to see Sky pick it up. I think that would be a
Yeah.
cool idea. Like Sky definitely have a relationship with them, and yeah, it would be, that would be the perfect home for
Haven't
them.
ITV and BBC teamed up on a streaming service?
I
BritBox.
yes, yeah. Or I think BritBox is its own thing, but I think they like got contracts out with the BBC and ITV, and but yeah, there's definitely a streaming service that
Well, you never know.
yeah,
Maybe.
it would be good to see, man. It would be good to see. But yeah, let's watch that space. But unfortunately, as you say, this might be it. But yeah, let us know what you think, especially our American listeners out there. I would love to know if you watched it, what your thoughts were, and if you didn't watch it, also why. Yeah, let's get into that. All right, so
Everyone's going
moving.
to come back and now say because it was shit.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so moving on to a trailer drop, the full trailer. We've already looked at a clip for this film. I sent you the clip ages
Yeah,
ago,
yeah.
and it, it was really good. This film is, I can't remember if we knew this before or not, but we definitely know now it is coming to Shudder. So that's really good news. And it is a film called Violation. Now, you may remember we looked at the clip a little while ago, and it was just this really intense clip of the lead actress, and I believe she's also the director, just like going off on this guy, and it was this really nice, intense moment, and we were kind of wondering what the rest of the film's going to look like. So,
And I didn't realize it was the same film until I saw that scene again,
oh,
a
until you
little
saw
bit
that
of it.
clip,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So, go on, man. What do you think of this trailer?
Phenomenal. I
Yeah,
thought I can't wait to see it.
yeah, same.
Absolutely can't wait. It looks incredible. It looks really credible. And there seems to be over the last few years this real re-emphasis on cinematography and sound and just taking time with shots. It looks beautiful.
Oh, it looks stunning.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah. It really speaks to me because it's shot in a way that I think about films, so it just really connects with me. Whereas you have these landscape shots and these like wider shots that are very composed and very set up. And then if you watch a lot of my stuff where dialogue's involved, I like to shoot a lot of dialogue like handheld and like really add some energy to it. And that's exactly what you got in this. You've got those really nice composed shots, and then like the dialogue just feels so chaotic. And it just feels like I mean, this is a film about someone, kind of having a bit of a breakdown and confronting
Mm,
her
mm.
younger sister and brother-in-law, I believe. And yeah, man, this is, you can just feel the tension come through this trailer. And yeah, the music's really great. The cinematography is stunning. I can't wait for this. And
It
it's been blowing up. Like, if you look at the start of this trailer, where it says it played like the Toronto International Film
yeah,
Festival,
yeah.
Sundance, and then South by Southwest, that is like, if you get one of those festivals, that makes you as a filmmaker. Like, to get all three of them, that's incredible. That's the dream. That is the absolute dream.
I think yeah, is there an argument to say if you've got two, you're going to get the third?
Possibly, possibly. I mean, do you know what? It all
No,
depends.
not that getting two is no mean feat. I'm not saying that. I just, if a film's doing well at
Yeah,
two
yeah.
festivals, they're not going to say, "Well, we don't want it."
No, exactly. I
Surely.
mean, well, the oddly enough, and getting into a little bit of a festival gossip here. The problem is there are a lot of festivals that compete with each other, right? So you can't play this festival, especially ones that are in the same town or like near each other. You can only play one of them. But normally, to be honest with you, you're not playing these festivals unless you have a sales agent on board, you have a connection to the festival, you have, now don't get me wrong, most time you still have to be a bloody good film. These are
Yeah.
the top festivals in the world. But yeah, you have to try and work the business, man. You've got to try and understand the business and know where you're going with it. And it looks like the filmmakers, be honest, did, right? They've done their research and they've
Mm.
gone out there and they've got sales representation, or they've hit up the festivals early and got in there. And
I mean,
look, there's complaints
yeah,
to be made about that, but at the
yeah,
same time, look, if that's the way the game's run, then you got to play it, right?
yeah. I mean, if that's the way it happens, it happens. I mean, it doesn't take away from how good this film looks. I mean, the trailer is really it just shows you how powerful a trailer can be
Oh, it's
without
just,
giving everything away.
yeah, it's just stunning. There's just so much. There's just so much in this trailer I really like. I just really like the way it starts. I like the music. It's very A24, funnily
Yeah,
enough. Like,
yeah.
if that is an A24,
Do you
it
know?
feels that
I was gonna
energy.
say that, but I was worried that I've said it too
Yeah,
too much.
yeah, but it does like that. The way it just hits, man, and it's like it's got that real
It was you who
emotional
pointed them out
energy.
to me, by the way, because I'd not heard of them. I'd not really paid much attention to production companies ever,
Yeah,
and it wasn't until you mentioned them that I looked into what they produce, and I thought, wow, film after film after film are the
yeah,
ones that I love.
yeah. They're exactly, man. I mean, me and you both rate the same films, and more times than not, they're A24 productions. So yeah, I just can't wait for this. I just think this is
Go
gonna
go
blow some people
go
away.
back to the scene that we actually saw previously.
Yes,
It's so real. The
it really
acting is
is. Yeah,
so real.
yeah.
It's incredible.
You genuinely
Quite
feel like,
uncomfortably
yeah,
so
this
as
is
well.
a
Yeah,
character on the edge. This is a character on the edge. This is like there is something going on that isn't made completely clear, but oh man, like this is going to be a tour de force performance. You can just feel it, can't you? You can just feel it
yeah,
jumping out
yeah.
of the trailer. It's
And
absolutely incredible.
I have to say as well with Shudder, it took me a while to sign up to them, uh, but now I have. I think maybe it wasn't great at the
Yeah,
beginning when I first heard of them, but I'm just continue to be impressed by what's on there.
yeah, yeah. I am. I just Shudder. Like for me, is I was the same. If I'm completely
Yeah,
honest, I didn't sign up to him straight away, and then I started because I tell you it wasn't that I wasn't interested. It's just that a lot of their stuff that went on there straight away was stuff I had on Blu-ray. Like I
yeah,
already had a
yeah,
lot of the like legacy horror films and stuff like. So for me, I didn't need a streaming service for that stuff because I already had it. And then it wasn't until they started picking up their own films, they started doing a lot of original content, the documentary stuff they do on there. That's when I started taking notice and thinking, okay. And now, I watch at least every week. I'm watching one or two films on Shudder, and I'm
yeah,
giving.
yeah,
One of the good things about it is I'm just giving random stuff a go as well because they pick up so many
yeah,
independent films that look, they're not all they're for someone, but they're not all for me. But I just like that there's that option, and I just
yeah.
like that you just see something you're like, oh, what's this? This is from the last few years. I haven't seen this small little independent film. Yeah, just give that a go. And yeah,
Do you know I've even
hits,
been
man.
watching stuff that I've got on DVD and Blu-ray just because it means I don't have to get off my ass.
That's yeah, that's the death of physical media, isn't it?
Laziness will be the death of physical media.
Yeah, it really will be. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it's not streaming service, it's laziness.
Yeah, people like me. Yeah, thanks,
That's
Chris.
exactly it, man. That's exactly it. Right, we're gonna drop a link to the trailer below.
Oh,
Watch
that
it.
so
Yeah,
good.
I think if you like I said, it's not A24, but if you like that kind of character-driven, real emotional impact thriller horror film, yeah, this is for you. I can't wait. Can't wait. Right, so moving on to something that I touched on a little bit with the Nick Frost and Simon Pegg news is some news literally dropped like 2 days ago that Edgar Wright is directing and going to develop a new version of Stephen King's The Running Man for Paramount. So, what do you think of this?
I think this is great news. I normally have mixed feelings about remakes,
Yeah,
but I think this in this case is great news for two reasons. I wasn't a particular fan of the original film.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it was fine. I didn't love it. Um, it was, just okay, an 80s film. But I think it's one of I watched a trailer to refresh my mind, and it's definitely one of those films that could benefit from up to date techniques, um, storytelling techniques, and visual
yeah. I agree.
techniques as well.
Yeah,
Um, it's very camp and tongue in cheek, and if they could do a more serious job with it. And I think what it's talking about, the cult of celebrity, and what Stephen King was talking about in 1980 whatever when he
Yeah.
released it. Uh, it's almost like he predicted the future of like
Oh
reality
yeah.
shows and this
It's
kind of
it's
thing.
very, very timely. It's very,
I
very
think
timely.
this could be really good.
Well, I think what's interesting about it is in the official press release, it actually goes out its way. But to be honest with you, a lot of films are doing this at the minute. It goes out its way to say this isn't a remake. It isn't a adaptation of the film. This is a pure adaptation of the book. It will be a lot more faithful to the book. Now, I haven't read the book. Have you ever read the book?
No, I've not. No.
So I'm not sure the real differences between. I guess there are some, but yeah, they're saying this will be a very faithful adaptation of the book, not an adaptation of the Arnie 1987 film. So that's interesting. But like I said, a lot of people are saying that in a minute, and I kind of feel like it's a bit more of a publicity stunt to be like, no, 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 we're not remaking. We're not like remaking films. We're touching on the original novel. We're not, but I think that's just a way so
How do
people
you feel
piss off.
about this news?
Yeah, I'm excited about it just because it's again, I know, like I said about Edgar Wright, kind of not really doing, kind of moving away from the British stuff. That was always going to happen. I mean, look at Christopher Nolan. You've just got a much bigger canvas to play with in
Mm,
Hollywood. But
mm,
I think this is very exciting because I think this sounds like it could be something a lot bigger than Edgar Wright's
yeah.
ever done. And I would love to see him play on that. Like I said a few weeks ago, he's never done anything bad for me. One of my most anticipated films this year is Last Night in Soho because he's never put a foot wrong. From the Cornetto trilogy, which, yeah, all of them are great films, especially the first two. Scott Pilgrim is great, like especially if you're a fan of the comic and you know what you're getting in for. I think it can be a little bit jarring if you don't, but yeah, if
Mm,
if you're looking for that, man, that fucking works. I think that hits home. And then Baby Driver, unfortunately, take away the Kevin Spacey stuff. Baby Driver is, one of the best car chase films, car stunt films in the last 10, 20 years. I mean, name me another one that holds up to the stunts in that film. It's incredible. And the soundtrack for that and everything. It was just Edgar Wright. It just seems like when Edgar Wright is given this canvas to play and given a bit more money, like he was with Baby Driver, it's like have the money for the soundtrack you want, have the money to go out and do the car stunts and,
mm.
get this incredible Hollywood cast. He delivers. He's not someone that drops the ball. So for me, adapting a King novel, like there's no casting announcement or anything, but he's definitely going to have some, the A-star cast in this. Yeah, man, I can't wait. I
Yeah.
I think any Edgar Wright news to me is good news.
I just think as well, like I said, this film is like ripe for a remake in terms of, just updating the film.
Yeah, yeah,
But they make such strange choices with remakes. Like, look at the RoboCop remake.
yeah, it's
It,
true.
it wasn't. Do you know? It wasn't bad. It was okay. I enjoyed the hour and a half, 2 hours I invested in it. But why do it? Because there's nothing wrong with the original. The original was fantastic, iconic. Don't touch it until we get to a point where genuinely you can add something to the story. Then don't do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think if I could kind of play devil's advocate a little bit and say why I think they do that stuff, it's because,
Money.
well, RoboCop's a great film to us, right? Like we appreciate RoboCop. But I think if you're going to introduce that to your average teenager, does it hold up? Like,
Well,
is your average teenager of today gonna
my
watch those 70s, 80s action films and be
my
like,
my
yeah,
my son has seen a few 80s films.
yeah,
He loves them. So he's seen Predator. We're going to move on to Commando. He's not quite old enough to take RoboCop because it's
yeah,
very,
yeah.
very violent. But I did show him the trailer. He was blown away. He said, "I cannot wait to see this. It looks incredible."
But do you think that's because, as a father, you've introduced them to,
Been excited about it. It could be.
you've been excited about, but also introduced them to older films from an early age,
It's
and
possible. I mean, the thing is,
and you're quite like creative and quite art driven yourself, so I feel like that,
I've shown them a lot of films, a lot of
yeah,
cartoons, and a lot of computer games
And
that I
music as
enjoyed when
well.
I was young,
You
and
share a
music.
lot of music with your kids as well, don't you?
But
So
the thing is, some of that stuff I've put on, and I've been so excited to show them, and we've got through it, and I'm watching, and I think this is shit. This is
yeah,
not held up at all. Um,
yeah, no, that does happen. That does happen,
but
definitely.
every now and again, you see stuff that you think, man, this is so good. Even now, like Big Trouble Little China. I
Yeah,
know there's talk about them remaking
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Please don't, because
yeah,
it's so good.
yeah. I think that it's just like you said, it's money because when you develop a film, right? Let's say this from a production company's point of view, right? So let's say who's this Paramount, right? So let's say Paramount are going to bring in Edgar Wright to make an original film, right? Make a Baby Driver.
Yep.
Now you say, right, are you writing that film? And Edgar Wright might say, right, I've got a story. I want to develop a story, but I want to bring in another screenwriter, right? Like they are doing on Running Man. Now, now you're paying Edgar Wright to develop the film, and you're bringing in another screenwriter to develop drafts of that screenplay, which if you look at the history of like developing, a screenplay in Hollywood, that shit can take like 10 years sometimes with like multiple different writers. Every single one of them drafts, you're paying someone.
Mm.
So, the development of a film and then there's market research in it. Are people actually interested in it? Who are the people that go to the cinema? Like your main audience that you are going to get money from is teenagers. The reason why Marvel films are so successful, the reason why they're the biggest films in the world is because teenagers want to go and watch them films. So that's where your money is, right? Because teenagers have more time than anyone else. They can go to the cinema every weekend. They can see all the new release. You are driving your films towards teenagers. That's why they're the biggest money makers, right? So
Hmm.
now you've got to do focus groups and you've got to say, right, okay, let's get a focus group together. This all costs money. And by the time you know it, you've spent a good couple of million developing an idea that actually might never go anywhere else, right? Because you might put the feelers out in your focus groups and teenagers go, I don't fucking want that. That's a terrible idea. I don't want that. Right. So then that doesn't
Hmm.
happen. But the reason why you do see a lot of remakes, and look, I'm not saying I agree with it, I don't, but the reason you see a lot of remakes is because it's already established there's an audience for it, right? Like, even if it was somewhat successful in the past, it still had some success. There's still people out there that know it, right? So, saying about the RoboCop remake, so they have not made that film for me and you. They have made
Mm.
that film for a newer audience with new CGI, with new effects, and it's all shiny and it's all new because that's what the new audience want. But they also know that me and you are buying the ticket because we're interested because we're fans of the other one. So they don't even need to advertise to us. You buy less advertisement, you buy less this, buy less that. That's why they make them films. That's why they do it. Now I'm not saying that's right. But and also this isn't anything new. Like a lot of people kind of get caught up on that of like, oh, we're stuck in like the land of remakes. It's always been that way. It's always been that way. You look at
Mm.
and some of the best films of all time are like that. You want to look at John Carpenter's The Thing. That's a remake. You want to
Yeah.
look at Scarface. That's a remake. All like there's tons of classic films that are remakes, and that's just been the way forever, right? Because you've got a built-in audience. You don't have to do a lot of the development. It's right there in front of you, especially if it's a novel, successful novel. And Stephen King is, fucking the hottest thing in town at the minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone's
Yeah.
adapted King book. That's so moving away from the whole studio thing. That's something I wanted to ask you. So I didn't realize that when this book was published, it wasn't under Stephen King's name. He
That's
published
right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he published it under a different name. Do you think that will change for the advertisement of this film?
Yeah. I think it will stay
Yeah,
Stephen King.
yeah,
100%.
because yeah, I think so. Yeah. Do you reckon they're gonna? I was talking. I can't remember who. I was talking to someone the other day about A Nightmare Before Christmas,
Yep.
where Disney have completely changed. So Disney did originally produce that, but they thought it was way too scary for their brand.
Yep.
So if you look at the original advertisement, it was all Touchstone Pictures, which was an offshoot of Disney. But
Yep.
now, if you look at it, it's got the fucking Disney logo above it, and it says Disney's A Nightmare Before Christmas. They got fucking merchandise everywhere. So yeah, it's funny how stuff changes in time, isn't it? But
It's funny. It seems like every couple of times we talk, there's another piece of news around King.
yeah, yeah, man. He's like, I mean, he's got a million different fucking properties out there. So I can imagine everyone's just trying to tap into what is the next Stephen King. And look, like there's actually been a ton of them lately that we don't talk about because they're no good. Netflix done a whole run of Stephen King adaptations, and they didn't really go anywhere. No one spoke about them, but they're just looking for that one it. That's what they want. They want it. They want the the film that is just going to blow up and become they want that next character that's going to be Pennywise. That's what they're looking for. But yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see, man. But
yeah,
are you excited for this? Are you
yo, yeah,
optimistic? Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I think it's as I said at the beginning, I'm always kind of cautious about these things, but this one feels like it could be good to me.
Yeah, same. Yeah. It's funny. If you told me this was happening and it didn't have Edgar Wright's name attached, yeah, I'd be optimistic, but I wouldn't be that excited. The fact that Edgar Wright's attached, yeah, man, sign me up. Sign me up every day of the week, really. Yeah. Right. So from one film in development to another, and this is one that really piques the interest. This is one that I've saved this till last because my God, how can we not get excited about this?
It's going to
So,
be
yeah.
outstanding.
God, do you know what? You take it off this one because I
I,
sent you this and I need to know your thoughts.
I
So,
can't. I
what is
mean,
it, first of all? What's been announced?
Joaquin Felix is attached to star in Ari Aster's next project,
Oh,
which reportedly is called Disappointment Boulevard.
yeah.
And you know, Ari Aster is one of the real hot filmmakers, and his next film, full stop, a bit like Robert Eggers, would be so anticipated. But to have Joaquin Phoenix attached to it off the back of his role in Joker,
Yes.
I mean, wow. It,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
crazy.
I don't know. I've got no. I mean, we don't know. I'm assuming it's some sort of horror film, but we don't know. Um, but sometimes you could say, "Oh, I could picture this actor doing this or that." He could play any part in it. Mild mannered nobody, hardcore killer. I think he'd be fantastic in an Ari Aster film. I'm just really, really excited for this.
What can I say? This is when I saw this drop, this news. I knew Ari Aster was working on another film, right? Like we all knew it was coming. I don't know if it's this film, but the last I heard is he described his next film as a nightmare comedy. Now, I don't know if that's this film, maybe that's another film he was working on, but we knew he had something coming. I was just waiting for the announcement of, what it was going to be. And when this drops, that it's Ari Aster with Phoenix. If you just think back to Hereditary and Midsummer, one of they're very unique films, but what
Yeah,
he does really, really well is he gets actors to this point that they're very talented actors, but he gets something out of them that you didn't really know was there. Like Toni Collette is an amazing actress. We all know she's an amazing actress, right? She's done some incredible work. We didn't know that Hereditary performance was there.
mm.
Like that, she should. I know everyone says this, and I agree. She should have won the Oscar for it. There wasn't a better performance that year. There just wasn't. Then you come to Midsummer again. Florence Pugh, she was taking the Hollywood by storm at that point. She was starring in everything. She was in a film called Fighting with My Family, a wrestling type film. Really good in that. Then she was in Little Women, really good in Little Women. Midsummer, again, he gets this performance out of her that you just haven't seen. This heartbreaking, tragic performance that kind of turns itself on its head at the end, and she basically the victim at the start, and then she's fully in control of the situation at the end. Incredible performance. Now, if you want to talk about one actor, like you said, that can do anything, Joaquin Phoenix is that guy, right? He's that actor.
Mm.
This is a guy that pretended to be a rapper for a year for a fake documentary just to see where it would go. Literally performing like in
Yeah,
clubs, being just that this is a guy that literally dived in to making everyone believe it as well. No one knew he was shooting a documentary at the time. Everyone believed he had quit acting. I remember watching him on, I think it was the David Letterman show, where like everyone had brought it. Everyone had literally thought he had quit because he gets that into his roles. What in the fuck are they gonna do together? Can you imagine this performance? I'm telling you now, whatever this performance is, he's winning the Oscar for it. He has to win the Oscar for it.
Did he win the Oscar for Joker? He did, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he did.
I mean,
He definitely
I
won
can't
awards
think
for it. Yeah,
what he would have been up against.
No, not gonna lie. He definitely won major awards for it,
I
but
mean,
I'm pretty sure he won the Oscar.
I'll tell you, cards on the table. Hereditary didn't do it for me. Sorry, Midsummer.
Right? Yeah.
So I saw Midsummer before I saw Hereditary. I loved Hereditary. I think it's
Yes, it's
fantastic.
incredible. Yeah.
For me, I think it's the better film
Oh, I
out of
agree.
the
It
two.
is the better film. I completely agree.
Midsummer, although I can appreciate the work that's gone into it, the work behind it, the performances, I thought it looked beautiful. I thought it was incredibly intense and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I can't put my finger on it, Scott, and maybe I need to give it another go, but there was something about it that didn't gel for me.
I definitely
Just
give it another go.
a personal thing. I don't know. I can't put my finger. I left the cinema thinking I don't. It's hard to describe, but I think I was expecting more. I don't know.
I think you've
I
got to
don't know.
watch it as its own beast, because the problem is it is coming off the back of Hereditary, which is one of the best
But
debuts of all time.
I saw Hereditary after Midsummer.
Oh,
I'd
okay.
never seen an Ari Aster film. Didn't know anything about him. All I knew was, hey, there's a folk horror film coming
Yeah.
out. Do you know what I think it was? I think it was, it's probably it says more about me, but I really hate it when this happens, is when people compare it to other things, and there were people saying it's the new Wicker Man, and I go in thinking, well, we'll see about that, and
Yeah. Yeah.
in it straight away it puts me, because I can remember Cabin in the Woods, and I don't know if I've spoken to you about this, but I really don't like that film.
Oh,
And
right. Okay.
the problem is, it's because and it's another one that I need to watch again, is because I can remember the marketing for it. You had this, it was simply a cabin like a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
And and everything was talking about how this was a groundbreaking new horror. It wasn't. It was an enjoyable comedy horror. I felt so let down by it on a
Yeah.
personal level. I just feel
Yeah.
like
You
they
can't
can build
believe
these
the
films
hype,
up
man.
too much. And when they
You
said
can't believe the hype.
Midsummer, the next Wicker Man, I thought straight away it's got that in my mind, because I love the Wicker Man, and they say that because they know how iconic the Wicker Man is. It's one of the big
Of
three
course.
in
It's all
folk horror.
advertisement. Yeah, it's all advertisement, man. It's all advertisement, and it's all to try and get you into the cinema. To try and get the casual fans into the cinema. To be honest, but
Yeah.
no, Cabin in the Woods is great. I love Cabin, but you've got to go in just wanting. It's a great, fun comedy horror film.
If I'd known what it was, it
Yeah,
would have been a
yeah,
completely different story. But it's left a bad taste in my mouth, and I need to give it time, even though it's been several years
yeah.
before I'm ready
I
to
think
try
once
it
you're
again.
ready and you go back, I do think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll get something out of it because it is a very interesting film. The concept is really good. Yeah, I don't know if the concept has been done before with not to spoil it for anyone, but like kind of the twist within it. But yeah, it
Oh yeah, I
does.
mean, I'd
It
never
works, man.
seen anything like that.
No, and I think that, yeah, I got to admit the advertisement, it didn't work. I mean, it definitely didn't work because it didn't do anything at the fucking box office. So the advertisement definitely didn't work on that film. But yeah, with Midsummer, yeah, I can see the comparisons to like Wicker Man and stuff. But
But you know what? With Cabin in the Woods, right? Put yourself in my position. So I go to the cinema on my own. Actually, I bunked off
yeah,
work to go and see it. Right. So I was on my own. I think I was in Leicester Square. I was on my way back from something, a conference or something, and I
right,
thought, sod it, I ain't going
sod
back
it,
to the
gonna
office.
go
I'm
and do it.
going,
Yeah,
and I went in there thinking, here we go, this game-changing horror. And one of the first things I see, I'm so sorry to this guy, but is this annoying character who's got a bong that transfers
oh
into a
yes, man.
coffee mug. And I
Yeah,
just thought, what the fuck am I
yeah.
watching? What have I done?
Yeah. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But like that's again, that's quite that character. The idea of that character and the way it's set up is quite clever because it's meant to be. It's a commentary on horror films, right? So
Yeah,
the idea that that character is the most clueless when actually he's the only one that sees exactly what's going on. So it's a nice play on it. But I agree. I mean, them characters never really gel with me, if I'm honest. The kind of
yeah.
the always high kind of bro characters. They never really work on me. But
For me, he was a kind of less successful version of the guy in Scream who knows all the rules about the horror films.
oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Randy's a much better
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
Randy's iconic. Yeah,
I will give it
yeah.
another go, and I'll definitely give Midsummer another go.
Oh
Because
no, you got to give Midsummer.
I'm not lumping that. I mean, I've really, I don't want to go on about it, but I've really got a bitter problem with Cabin in the
Yeah,
Woods.
I
But
I like I like both films. Don't get me wrong. I own both films. I like both films. But Midsummer is it's a 10 times better film than Cabin in the Woods. But yeah, they're
well,
both good.
I
They are both good.
I think yeah, just to round it off with his new film. Like I said, even though it didn't quite work for me, Midsummer, I appreciate everything that went into it,
Yes.
um, and how good it is in that respect. I can't wait for his new film.
Yeah, I can't wait for this. And we should say that it hasn't been confirmed that this is a genre movie at all. It definitely doesn't sound like a genre film. It's about a successful entrepreneur, right? And it's like it follows this person through different decades.
I, I,
So this
I
could
kind of
be the
feel like
nightmare comedy, right?
well,
It sounds a little bit like Citizen Kane in a weird way.
mm,
That's kind of like Citizen Kane, right? Like it follows him through the decades, and he's this really successful businessman. So,
yeah.
I mean, that would be interesting if it's Ari Aster's version of that. Fuck me.
I mean, Ari Aster could film Joaquin Phoenix in a room for 2 hours, and I'd watch it.
I think
So
that's the exciting thing. I think you're completely right. You're completely right. That's what's so exciting about this.
yeah,
Is that director, that actor, just sign me up. Just sign
yeah.
me up. I don't want to know anymore. Just let it unfold.
As a kind of devil's advocate caveat, though, I'm going to say, two great powerhouses doesn't necessarily mean they're going to capture lightning in a bottle.
No, you're
It
completely
should be. Everything says this should be fantastic, and definitely we hope it is.
yes. Yeah. But hey, we will see. This is definitely something, yeah, we're gonna follow up on when more news drops.
Yeah, thanks for sending this one over, Scott, because I didn't know about this.
Oh yeah,
Very,
definitely.
very
Yeah.
excited about it. Do we know anything at all about dates or anything like that?
No, all we know is
It's not even
director,
started.
star,
It's not started production, has it? He's
no,
literally
and
just signed on.
it's being produced and financed by A24. So that's all we know. Yeah. So do
See, I
with that
forgot
what
that
you will.
it's an A24 as
It's an
well.
A24 film, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
I'm pretty sure Ari Aster's under contract with them. I mean,
it's like
everything
it's
is.
like the Holy Trinity.
Oh, that is, yeah, exactly. Oh man, I can't wait. All right, dude, bringing us round to our final part of the show, the creepy link of the week. Go on, introduce this
Feel,
week's
feels like it's
link.
been a while since we've had one of these.
It does. I think it's because we done like our top 5.
Yeah, we've done a couple
Yeah,
of specials, haven't we?
exactly. So we drop it for the special episodes. But yeah, this is really good, man. Yeah. So
So
let everyone know what it is.
this is a 3 minute YouTube video called "In the Margins of a Nightmare on Elm Street," and it's a new take on the Nightmare on Elm Street where all of the characters have been removed. There are no physical people in this. You see nobody, and it's kind of tries to show the story of Nightmare on Elm Street just with the locations and the music. And what did you think, Scott?
This really worked for me. Really worked. And I'll tell you why it really worked. Because so when we were in our first or second lockdown, there was a lot of people we know, right, that were making films and making short films, and people that either had flatmates or whatever that were actors or actresses, and they were film stuff. And I was thinking to myself, is this a time to make something? Is this time to make a short film? And I was trying to work out doing something that, like, I live with my girlfriend. She's not an actress. She don't want to act, and we couldn't see anyone else. So I was like, okay, what could I do? And I was trying to think of a concept that basically didn't involve any people, and I couldn't
Mhm.
really work it out. So then watching the opening this, I'm like, oh fuck, that's the concept. That's the concept. It's like watching the night or watching the crime unfold without actually seeing anyone. It's like just almost being a fly on the wall after the crime's been committed, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just to get it out of the way, if I have one criticism of this, it ends very abruptly. Um, just
If I
with
have one
the
criticism,
guy
it's too long.
making it. Yeah, it is a bit long as well.
It's too long. Like this should have been half. It's what, 3 minutes? A minute and a
Yeah,
half would have been perfect
yeah.
for this. It
So
really would.
I mean, I really love the Nightmare on Elm Street films, even the crappier ones. But I really love them. I think Freddy's a great character. Probably watch at least one a year. I think the last one I watched was the questionable Freddy versus Jason crossover,
Oh
but
yes.
I still like it. I just for what it is, I love it. And watching this film, you think of Nightmare on Elm Street and you think of Freddy. He's the big iconic thing. If you look at Halloween, yes, Michael is the big iconic thing, but a lot more people are aware of the music. And this, for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
highlights how scary that music is in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh,
I
I'm so
watched
glad you
this.
said that.
I watched this during the day. I was on my own, but I watched this during the day with the headphones on. Genuinely, I had to keep looking over my shoulder. It really, really creeped me out. I thought it was so well done, so powerful.
Yeah.
Just the music and all those shots. I thought it was incredible. Really, really incredible.
Oh,
Genuinely scared me.
the music is it's so good. I'm gonna say something that's gonna like ruffle some feathers, but I've always been a massive, massive Nightmare on Elm Street fan. I think Freddy is the best 80s slasher. I just think the concept of Freddy goes so much further than just the killer. I
Yeah,
think he, just for me, I just prefer Freddy to Michael and
it's
Jason, and I
incredibly
love them.
original idea
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. And my controversial statement is, I've always believed that as good as the Halloween theme tune is, Nightmare on Elm Street's better.
I don't think that's that controversial. I mean, if I hadn't have watched this, I would have said you're
Yeah,
being ridiculous. However, this really puts that music front and center. And I think, you aside, I think for the vast majority of people, they hear the music, but they don't really
yeah,
hear the
yeah,
music because
yeah,
everything else, Robert Englund's deliver everything about, he's great, but it dominates everything. Whereas in Halloween, Michael's, it's scary when Michael's not there.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
for Nightmare on Elm Street, it's all about Freddy, and the music gets pushed back. And do you know what? It is damn creepy. Really, really.
It's so good. The reason it works for me, the reason why I prefer it is I feel like, look, that Halloween tune is as famous as it comes, and it is will forever be associated with Michael Myers, right? That goes without question. However, I do feel like you could take that music out, put it elsewhere, and it works, right? And case in point is Scream, right? Because in Scream 1, they're watching Halloween on the TV. And that scene is scored with the score from Halloween. And it works, right? It just works because it's a great tune for a serial killer. It's a great tune to build up tension. It's the Alfred Hitchcock stuff, right? It just works. It tells you something's gonna happen. It like the Jaws theme does, right? It anticipates what's coming. The the Nightmare on Elm Street theme is Freddy's theme. It is literally Freddy's theme. This is to me, it's as iconic with Freddy as the Imperial March is with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
It really works for that character to where you cannot add that to another character, right? Unless the other character is very similar, as in it's a serial killer that haunts you and kills you in your dreams, right? Because it sounds dreamlike. That
You
music is
literally,
dreamlike.
literally took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah,
I was just going to say that it's dreamlike,
it's
which is
just so perfect.
perfect.
Oh, it's so perfect. It's so perfect. And this, right? There's two ways to watch this clip you've sent me that we're linking below, right? First of all, just watch it. Just hit play, watch it with the music and everything. You're gonna love it. It's great, especially the opening minute to 2 minutes. Right, it works really, really, really well. Then watch it a second time and turn the volume off. What right? And the imagery is still really good. There's some great imagery. It does not work half as well without that theme song. That theme song, oh, it's so good, man. It's such a good piece of music. It really is. So yeah, if you can't tell, like I love this whole thing, but that, rather than talk about the clip, we're talking about the music. But that is the power of music, and I genuinely believe that music and sound is so important in film. It's so important.
These guys are called Hungry Creature Productions, and I've got a feeling that they're going to get bigger and bigger. At the moment, they've got about 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
This came out a couple of weeks ago. I haven't watched them yet, but they do all sorts of stuff on their YouTube channel.
yeah.
They've done a few more of these. They've done Halloween and Candyman so far, and in horror, and I think they've done a few more outside of the genre as well. Haven't watched them yet. This was their most recent one.
All right, we'll check them out. We'll check them out. I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to see this. And the thing I'll end on, just another point on the music, is a lot of people say, why have we, since the 80s, we have never had a villain in a slasher film that is ever lived up to these heights, right? We have never had anyone that touches Michael, Freddy, or Jason. Right, you've got your other guys from earlier, like your Leatherface and your Pinhead and your stuff like that. But in terms of, that trio, Ghostface is up there. Like Ghostface, like gets there. But for me, the one thing no one ever touches on, why certain slashers don't ever make it to that level, is the slasher has to have everything around them too. And the most important thing they need is that theme song. Something that's a little bit lost in cinema.
Yeah,
You don't really get iconic theme songs anymore. You do a little bit. Probably the last time you got it was maybe the Avengers. Like, you hear that Avengers
yeah,
music, know what it
yeah.
is. Before that, I would say probably the Harry Potter films, the Hedwig theme and stuff. That is iconic as it comes. Again, all John Williams. Or the Avengers one isn't, but the Harry Potter one is.
It's a strange thing being iconic as well, though, because if you look at the big slashers of the 80s and early 90s, Nightmare on
Yeah,
Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Halloween, I don't really like the Friday the 13th films. They've never
yeah.
really hit the mark for me. That said, I appreciate how iconic Jason is.
And also, but Jason's also iconic because it comes with, you've got the look, right? I mean, Jason's had several looks. He didn't start with a hockey mask. Hockey mask didn't come until a couple of films into it. But the music, like Jason even has that music, right?
Yes, that's
It's
true.
not as
Yeah,
big as this, but that
yeah.
like
I,
that
I
is
like I like to do that to my kids.
right.
They don't
How
like they don't
iconic is
like
that though?
it.
How iconic is that? Like that's what the films are missing. They don't have
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Jaws, is Jaws the film it is without that music? No, it's still a great film, but it's not, it probably doesn't reach legendary heights because of that music. You hear, great music will propel stuff, right? You like case in point, and this isn't horror or anything, but you want to talk Star Wars, The Mandalorian, right? Everyone loves The Mandalorian. I love The Mandalorian, like it blew up, one of the biggest things in Star Wars, right? And what it does so well is that theme song because it's different.
Yeah.
It's not your normal Star Wars theme song, but it is so iconic. Like it sounds futuristic, it sounds Star Wars, but it also sounds like a Western. And that's what the
Yes.
Mandalorian is. So like you hear that and you're like, yeah, that's my alarm to wake up is the Mandalorian theme song. Like I think it's that fucking good. Like really, like it's yeah. I love music and films, and it's definitely something that's been lost a little bit. You don't really get it that much anymore. But yeah, man, like this clip, the music though, it just I love this clip, and again, I love it because it kind of explained to me the idea I had. Like I said, I couldn't put it together. I couldn't really work out exactly what the concept was, and this has kind of solved it for me, to be honest. But what I really love about this is it just remind me how fucking good that music is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good, man. So good. But yeah,
I'm
again, sir, well
pleased you
done.
like it.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Can you tell? All right, dude. We're end it there. We'll round it off with that one. Thank you so much for joining us again, boys and girls. As always, it is an absolute pleasure, and just thank you so much for listening. If there was one person out there, or whatever the number is, we love all of you. So yeah, thank you so much. And until next week, Horror Hounds, stay very, very safe.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.